I'd like to call the town board meeting of the town of Lake Mills to order on this October 10th at 8 p.m. The notice was posted at the town hall, the North End Boat Launch, and the cul-de-sac on Finch Brothers Road, also on the town's website. Second item on the agenda is the adoption of the agenda, and I will say ahead of time that we have one of our board members is not here tonight, Lee Peterson, and so it's just Dave and I, and we're going to clunk along and try to do business as usual. So I would motion to adopt the agenda as published.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the agenda as printed, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Item 3, approval of the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve September's minutes as printed.
I had one date that was goofy, Sarah.
Okay.
I think it's in the second page, and look how my computer printed it.
Oh,
September 20.
thank you.
So with that correction, you motion to approve the minutes. I will second that, and is there any discussion on the minutes from September 12th? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the minutes as corrected, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Item 4, approval of the treasurer's report. Where is my treasurer's report? We'll do this together.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve October's treasurer's report.
And I will second it. Is there any discussion?
Just one little question, and I don't know, it might be more for the building inspector. How come everybody's building and occupancy bonds is not the same cost? Does it go off the estimated cost of the construction? Because there's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 of them here, and every single one of them is different.
It
Any
is
idea?
for,
The occupancy bond is
Well-
always 400.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, but the rest of
But
it.
it's based on the square footage of the
Yeah.
houses.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
what, okay.
That's how it's
We're actually
different.
going to talk about that later.
We're going to talk about that a little bit later. All right, so those questions being answered, you made a motion, I seconded it. Any more questions? All in favor of approving the treasurer's report of October 2017, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Thank you. Item 5, approval of the general funding vouching.
I'm making a motion to approve October's disbursements of $102,249.77.
And I'll second that. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the general funding vouching, please say aye. Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Item 6, reports. A, the police report. Matt.
So we had a pretty busy month for September for the boat patrol. We had some nice weather. We put 116 hours of patrol and then 16 hours administrative hours for a total of 132 hours. The officers issued 14 citations for boating violations, issued 6 warnings, conducted 19 safety and compliance checks, and 1 person was assisted on the water by the boat patrol. The boat is put away in storage, but it will be taken to Tuffy for its annual, when they clean it up, take the nicks and gouges out of it, just to make sure it's up to par for the body of the boat. The PWC is also inside, and that'll be taken to Rob's for setup for winterization. We did winterize the boat patrol officer did do that, but the PWC, I would have Rob's do it so it's done properly.
Sure.
The lifts out, we took our cover and everything out of there so the city could take the city's lift out. So that's done for the boat patrol. For road patrol, we had 72 hours of road patrol. They handled 8 complaints for calls for service. Out of that 72 hours, 12 hours were involved in handling those complaints. They handled 1 traffic crash. They had a total of 34 traffic stops, issued 1 repair notice, 17 warnings, 20 traffic citations were issued. They spent 22 hours running stationary radar and issued 2 ordnance citations. Conducted 7 residence or business checks and 18 total park checks. So they've been fairly busy out there on the road patrol, and they are working. Other than that, we haven't had anything real major.
That's,
You had anything?
I haven't.
Okay, nothing?
no, but I do appreciate your help with the weight and the
Oh, yeah.
logging operation. I thought that was a good learning experience
Yeah.
for all.
Where are we at with our new pickup truck? We done
I should hear from them, I was told November
November?
is what I was told. And I haven't heard anything from them since. I was told November it's supposed to come in at that time.
So, we're going to go to budget here on the 30th. I was thinking that perhaps it would be good if we put together a plan of how to dispose of the squad.
Yeah.
And so I thought maybe you would prepare something about how many miles are on it, what kind of brand it is, and we can go about trying to market it or put it up for
Sure.
sale, and we can discuss that a little more on the 30th. We can do that through our meeting of the electors in November, so we'll have that ready to roll.
Okay.
And decide how we're going to dispose of the squad that we have, and I'm sure there's going to be other costs for setting up the pickup, but we can discuss that a little later. You
Yeah.
might want to throw those numbers into your budget stuff.
Okay, I can do that.
Whether you're available that night or not,
I am, I have it on my calendar.
Okay, we decided 6 o'clock, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
Man, I think I have some paperwork on the squad.
What you
I
do?
think I might have maybe even the title
Oh,
That'd be
in
really
my
handy.
records.
That'd be really
I'll
handy.
pull that
you're
file,
talking
up.
about the old car.
The Crown Victoria, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That'd be very helpful if we could
I'll bring that to the.
have a plan put together of how we want to
Yeah, 30th
dispose
at
of it
6.
and where the paperwork is. That'd be
Yeah.
great. Good, thank you, Sarah. Item B, Joint Rock Lake Committee report. I see no one here from there. C, Plan Commission report would normally be Lee's. And I think that both of the petitioners are here, the minutes are here, so that if we need to refer to that later on, we can do that. Any other committee reports?
Cambridge Fire Commissioners met, 4-hour meeting. It's like it got to be a long night. On the 27th of September, we have another meeting on October 18th to finalize the budget, which I'll kind of get into that in a minute. Otherwise, we had a closed session, and then coming out of that closed session is a developer has approached the commissioners to build a new fire station for us. And they are very interested in the property where the fire station sits now with a lease to own. So we're kind of investigating that a little bit, and really what it would come down to be somewhat of a land swap. They would put the building up to what our EMS and fire specs would be, and then it would be lease payments, and then the last payment would be like $1. But there's a whole lot of issues before we get to that point, but it was brought up. It does look like an interesting concept. The worst trouble is after going over the budget, we probably have to borrow the money to make the payments, so I don't know how well that's going to go. Financially, we were doing very well, and now it's not looking so well. We still got, a couple, 3 months to go here. General fund, $56,865. We've had all the reserves have been funded, so that's one thing where it kind of took away from a lot of the general fund. But the biggest thing is every year the workman's comp comes in and does the evaluation, and the Cambridge Fire EMS has not had any claims for about 4 years, so that's all good. But we are in a pool, and we got slapped with an additional $18,000 in premium cost. So it kind of hurts it quite a bit, along with a couple other small little tidbits. So we started going over the budget, and we kicked this thing around for hours and hours and hours until it just wasn't gonna work anymore. We went back to the fire chief and also the EMS director, and we told them to relook what they are trying to submit. I know fire trucks are getting old, so they were putting in a request for fire trucks, but we bought a Pierce fire truck, I think it was 4 years ago, $365,000. That same truck right now is $750,000. So they figured an average of $15,000 a year increase per vehicle. So anyway, that idea got scrapped. The biggest issue we have is covering every single shift on the EMS. So with less volunteers, the more expensive it gets with paid employees. So, Sarah, right now, the way the budget, when we get all done, it looks like there will be a 15 to a 16% increase. Which hopefully we can carve away at that a little bit, but emergency services guys are getting really expensive, and it's no different if it's Lake Mills Fire or if it's Cambridge or Jefferson. It's the same old story for everybody. So anyway, we'll peck away with that. So that was kind of not good news, but that's really was kind of about it.
Well, that doesn't sound like just about it.
It wasn't
Not only
any.
a 4-hour meeting, but a non-fun 4-hour.
It was very not fun.
Anything we can do to help with this?
You know, I really don't think so. It just comes down to getting everybody to make some concessions. Hope it's no different than when we sit down
Right.
with budgets. Everybody comes in and it's an increase for this and it's an increase for that. And what do? You take it from a highway budget.
Yeah.
And we are the smallest percentage of Cambridge Fire. So we would have to bear the least amount of expense. But it's still a factor.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dave, for attending the 4-hour meeting and sweating out the other details. All right. Item 7, period of public comment and questions for anything that is not on the agenda for discussion only. Is there anyone who would like to speak before the board? Hearing none. Moving on. Item 8, application reviews. A, discussion and decision on a request for land division slash parcel split for Rita Marty for W9554 Britsky Road, Cambridge. And just before you start, Rita, I know that the planning commission saw in your favor here, so that part of the discussion is on the table. Anything you want to add this week?
Not really. Nothing's changed in a week.
Do you have any questions, Dave?
Nope, I don't. It looks pretty
Gonna
straightforward.
split this apart and do it.
Yep.
Here you go. Forward from here, all right? I would make a motion to approve the request for land division and parcel split for Rita Marty at W9554 Britsky Road.
Lots 1 and 2.
Yes?
I will second.
Is there any discussion? You have any questions? You know now that our recommendation will go on to the county and you'll go from there, all right?
County board meeting.
All right. All in favor of approving the motion on the floor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Thank you, Rita, for coming out on this crappy night. Appreciate it. Good luck. Item B, discussion and decision on a request for a rezone from A1 to A3 for Dave Hughes at W9122 London Road, Cambridge. Dave, you're here. Dave's parcel 2 was approved by the planning committee. Do you have anything you'd like to add tonight? You have any questions?
Nope, looks pretty straightforward. You got the driveway separated out and gives you access to both spots, so, and it's in the 5 acre, under the 5 acre thing, so for the accessory land division, so I'll make a motion to approve.
And I'll second that. Is there any more discussion on the part of the board? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Thanks, Dave, thanks for coming out tonight. Item 9, old business. A, update on 2017 roadwork, road retour report, discussion and decision as needed. Well, here we are. Let's start with Newville Road. We pretty much have completed the first lift. According to all reports, the lumber that was being moved over the road is gone. I've cautioned Farmer Spoke about his burning and the direction of the wind and his considerations. We added this week to the edge of the road about 8 loads of 3-inch rock to stabilize that shoulder. I'm gonna go in and seed that ditch, because it's kind of bare. We put some
Yeah.
grass seed in there. And it looks to me, I have not heard from Dennis of Payne and Dolan, but the next lift should be going on in the next 10 days. I did talk to Carol Hertrick over the weekend because we needed to have some parking space, and I told him to spread the word that the paving was on the way, so we should have that complete. Then there should be some shouldering going on there after that.
Right.
I think everybody's real happy with what's happened so far, and so am I.
Yep.
Completed the work on Conservation Road. I'm not exactly sure if the shouldering has been done, but I do know that they still owe us for that shouldering. He also, Scott Construction also finished and swept all of those accessory roads in Shorewood, and they also recoated the cul-de-sac on Elm Point Road. So I was pleased that I didn't have to whine or cajole too much for that. So I think that sort of brings our road work up to snuff for this season. We did do our road tour. There is a list of brushing, and I did talk with the Krizan boys Friday. He promised me 2 days this next week, but I wonder if this rain will get in the way. We're not to give up the ship on that.
Yep.
There are a number of trees in Shorewood that have been designated, and they are on the list, and so if people call, we're still clicking along on that. Essentially, I think they're waiting for a few more of the leaves to drop before they start messing with those trees. What else?
Is the culvert on Cool Road going to be fixed this fall?
What's that, Shannon?
Is that culvert on Cool Road with the hole in it going to be fixed this fall?
Well, I forgot about
I
that.
forgot. We're probably gonna do something with that ourselves.
Dave's gonna
What's-
come over with a beer can, everything's
and
gonna be
We'll go to
fine.
Menards and buy some patch stuff, and
We
we
have
did
some,
stop and we looked at it.
Okay.
there are some other spot patches we need to do, so we can make that happen. Dave will bring the beer can over,
Yep.
everything will be perfect.
I usually find those along the road.
I wonder how that
I find them
happened.
along the road. It's where
Sure you do.
All right, I'm glad you brought that up, Sharon, that helps me,
Yeah.
because I know there are, we talked about, Shore Acres Road is in really bad shape, needs some patching, so.
Oh, right, yeah.
So we'll work on those two and get those two patched up. Okay. Anything else I've forgotten?
No, because everything was really pretty much, other than Shore Acres had a couple potholes and the brush that we need to take care of.
Well, we did have one thing happen, and you guys don't know about this. When Scott was sweeping, they busted the barricade that's at the end of White Oak Lane.
Okay.
And we had looked at it a couple of years ago, one of the posts was broken. Well, now the whole thing is gone. And so
Oh.
I talked to the county about it, and they were sending their bridge crew out.
Okay.
It may even have been repaired today.
Good.
Part of what they were gonna use is the remaining guardrail that was there, but they thought they might have to add a new piece to it and then drive the posts, so that's something else. Sarah's got on order a sign for Park Lane Road that has multiple number of property owners on it, and we're gonna work out a new situation for that. I think there is a sign down, I saw it swinging by daybreak yesterday out here on Crossman. Anybody else see any signs before I call him again?
You
Let
got
me
the
know.
one in Sherwood Hills Road that I called.
Yes, yes, right away.
I just wanted to ask, it has nothing to do with sign. The striping, the north end boat launch, I put all of that in the Rock Lake
Yeah,
account,
I
is
saw
that
that.
correct?
That was good.
All of it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, we need to use that money for amenities, and that's exactly where that should come from. I
I thought so, but I just
signed
wanted
that
to
check, I
confirm.
saw that.
Okay.
The only signs I had a question on was in that north boat launch where they park the boats, reference not parking on the grass and those signs. They're getting really bad.
They're all replaced.
There, I didn't know that.
They're all
Okay.
replaced. He replaced them,
Oh, thank you.
and we paid for them.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I figured.
Well, okay, I didn't know that. I haven't been out there, so.
Well, we had that one complaint from that citation that said, you can't do this, and so I
Yeah,
talked
okay.
with them, and I think they're all replaced.
Cool.
We've been really on that. If you and your patrolman see something, let me know.
Okay.
I also asked him to fix those 2 night arrows on Mud Lake Road.
Yep, yeah.
Got that done.
Good. Did you give any thought of, Glenn Wolf, mulching some of those trees on Cool Road? Or
Well,
wait till the leaves are
He
gone?
called me and asked me again. He did go back and re-mow over the weekend Newville Road, because he knew the paving was coming, and so that was perfect
Oh,
timing.
yep,
I'm sure he'll charge us for that. I think it was on the
Yeah, they
invoice.
did,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
Yeah, it
just
was
did.
it was a couple $100 or something,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, so we could entertain some rotary brushing, but only after we looked at our budget.
All right, yeah, and then,
We
Like-
still have some, we just don't have enough to do a road or something, but we got plenty of money for brushing.
And so I guess you and I would have to sort of flesh out what we
Yeah.
want to do, but I'd like to wait
The
till we get a frost and
yeah, and get rid of the leaves.
Get rid of
otherwise it
some of
looks
this
kinda
stuff.
I would
bad.
imagine all of that stuff you just mentioned, spot patches and the culvert and stuff, we have enough for.
we're just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
Can't, when a sign falls down or bridge barricade falls, we have to fix it. There's no getting around it. Okay, and if, some attorney doesn't get paid, it's okay with me. Sorry, I mean, we have these public
We're
safety
fine.
responsibilities that we have to cover. So, I don't think there's anything else we're gonna do this year except for prepare for winter. Do you guys, wanna look at this right now a little bit? Too bad we can't show it to the public, but.
I could throw it up on the website.
No, I think we're doing okay. If we get questions, we have the documentation on our road funding all prepared. I was hoping that we could stimulate a little action in our community to attend our meeting in November,
Yeah.
which is a
Usually get some.
7:30 meeting, which is a
It'll be
meeting of the electors
Published in the newspaper
to
too.
approve the highway budget, and then we will have our regular November meeting. So it would be really great if we had some participation on
I
the
can
part of
put
the
a
public.
website, e-blast on that too.
Okay, that'd be really good. Anything else? Moving on. Item B, discussion and decision on a loan for the 2017 road work.
I did fill in all of the blanks.
And we have all the signature stuff ready to go.
Yeah,
You have that copy,
I've
and
got it ready.
we need to,
Maybe I need to read some stuff into the
right,
into the minutes so we can send that along. Particularly this
This one.
one.
I, the clerk, no, the resolution.
Yeah, the resolution. No, hold on. Yeah, this one. Which one of you is going to present the resolution?
Form of record.
Should probably state that we're approving, let's see, I'll read the actual words here. The town board supervisor of the town of Lake Mills in the county, Jefferson County, Wisconsin, in accordance with the provisions of Chapter 24 of the Wisconsin statutes, do hereby make application for a loan of $276,575 and from the trust funds of the state of Wisconsin for the purpose of financing road projects. The loan is to be for 2 years, from the 15th of March preceding the date the loan is made. The rate is 3%. And this resolution then, are you gonna read it or is Dave gonna read it? I gotta write that in.
This form of record.
Yes.
following preamble and resolutions were presented by Supervisor Hope Osdike and were read to the meeting. By the provisions of Section 2466 of the Wisconsin statutes, all municipalities may borrow money for such purposes in the manner prescribed, and by the provisions of Chapter 24 of the state statutes, the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands of Wisconsin is authorized to make loans from the state trust fund to municipalities for such purposes. A municipality is defined in Section 24.62 of the state statutes, means a town or village, city, county, public land, public inland lake protection and rehabilitation district, town sanitary district created under Section 60.7 or 60.72, metropolitan sewage district created under Section 200.5 or 200.23, joint sewage system created under Section 28.43, school district or technical college. Therefore, be it resolved that the town of Lake Mills in the county of Jefferson borrow from the state funds of the state of Wisconsin the sum of $276,575 for the purpose of financing road projects and for no other purpose. The loan is to be payable within 2 years from the 15th of March, preceding the date the loan is made. The loan will be repaid in annual installments with interest at the rate of 3.00% per annum from the date of making the loan on the 15th of March next and thereafter annually as provided by law. Resolved further that there shall be raised and there is levied upon all taxable property within the town of Lake Mills in the county of Jefferson, Wisconsin, a direct annual tax for the purpose of paying interest and principal on the loan as they become due. Resolved further that no money obtained by the town of Lake Mills by such loan from the state is applied or paid out of any purpose except financing road projects without the consent of the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands. Resolved further that in case the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands of Wisconsin agrees to make the loan, that the chairman and clerk of the town of Lake Mills in the county of Jefferson, Wisconsin are authorized and empowered in the name of the town to execute and to deliver the commission certificates of indebtedness in such form as required by the commission for any sum of money that may be loaned to the town pursuant to the resolution. The chairman and clerk of the town will perform all necessary actions to fully carry out the provisions of Chapter 24 Wisconsin statutes and these resolutions. Resolve further that this preamble and these resolutions and the aye or no vote by which they are adopted be recorded, and the clerk of this town forward this certified record along with the application for the loan to the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands of Wisconsin.
So we need one of you to motion to adopt the foregoing preamble and resolution.
Supervisor Osdike moved to adopt the foregoing preamble and resolution.
Okay.
I will second it.
Supervisor Schrader seconded the motion.
Thank you.
Is there any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none. All in favor of
No,
approval?
I need an aye, nay.
Okay.
Roll call. Chairman,
Aye.
Supervisor Schrader,
Aye.
and we put Supervisor Peterson as absent, which is fine.
Perfect. All right. A majority of the town board of the town of Lake Mills in the county of Jefferson, state of Wisconsin, have voted in favor of the preamble and resolutions, and they are declared adopted.
Okay.
Thank you for the script.
And, yep, so further, if you're interested in this last page here, our equalized value for 2017, our final, was $316,743,400.
Okay.
So we've increased, like, the first year that we did this to the, it's 2015. 2015 to 2016, we went up around 25 million, and this year another 21.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's kind of, that was interesting to me. And also to note that our total indebtedness, so this new loan plus what we have as our balance on the 2015 loan, and anything, you know, as we go further, our total indebtedness cannot exceed 5% of the equalized value.
Okay.
And we're nowhere near that, but I just
Okay.
want you to know that there is a,
Limit.
Yes. All right, thank you, Sarah. So you will see to it that we sign the
Yep.
right papers after the meeting and that this gets turned to the state because someone's gonna be banging on our door to pay the bill for the paving once it's complete. I will say
I
that,
actually have a partial billing already from Payne and Dolman.
I'm sure you do.
Sorry, yes?
Okay, before we go any further in our highway discussion, I did go to a county meeting for the grant cycle that we are now in, and that was a very interesting discussion. Several times I have put together in the last 4 years a 5-year road plan and a 3-year road plan, and seems like every time I turn around, something gets altered or something changes, so this planning is pretty complex. We are pretty far into the process of looking at the right-of-way. You might want to take a look at this on Court Lane. The county surveyor has been there and staked the right-of-way. I met with the county yesterday. We talked a little bit about what the road would look like if we could work within the original right-of-way. And so we'll have some design things. We are targeting doing this work in early 18 before the park really gets up and going. The County Parks Board has put $100,000 in their budget. We are looking to put, by that time, what will be $35,000 of reserved money that is sitting in the county coffers, waiting for us to use. Looks like a lot of the engineering is going to be done by the county, and once the design comes forth of how we will look at that intersection of S and Court Lane, we'll have some decisions to make.
Speaking of which, the homeowner there has sent me a couple of emails recently, some concerns.
Well, you need to forward those on to me, and I will talk with them.
Okay,
I'm sure the stakes showing up in their
Yeah.
yard made them very nervous.
yes.
But they should, because they need to understand the right-of-way there. And so we'll talk about that. He'll forward that on to me, and I will talk with the vice. But we're well into that process. We did talk about grants. You know, this is the LRIP year where we are eligible, I think, along with Concord, Watertown, and maybe Ixonia, for a mile of roadway. And so we need to work out that and get that application in. There was some discussion. No one really had a Trip D project organized for this biennium, and I was a little sad that no one would go for that pile of money, because that's discretionary money that the state has, and that money is being used right now for Lake Ripley Road. Capsner is well in the process of that. We talked about applying for discretionary funds for Court Lane, and basically ruled that out because of the time frame and some of the concerns. If we would take that money, we would not be able to have the county do the work. So that was kind of complicated. The idea on the road plan that I have was that perhaps we would look at the discretionary money for a grant application for Rock Lake Road, because Rock Lake is going to be redone. The engineering for Rock Lake Road is mostly already complete, and that may be an opportunity for us to get that section of Rock Lake Road done with that grant money. I think that's an 80-20 split.
So you're talking from the intersection of Highway B, just underneath the interstate, or all the way up to where it meets the Waterloo?
Well, that remains to be seen. If we could partner with Waterloo, if they thought that road was on their list to be done, that would be a good partnership, you know, to finish it all the way to 89. We'll have to work on that. Something that we probably, it's really not on the road plan, but since this is gonna happen, and the engineering is already put together, that road is gonna be lowered 7 inches. That might be an opportunity for us to partner with the state
Yeah.
and with the town of Waterloo to get that section done. So that's kind of on my plate. I am on the committee to review those things. They'll be reviewed the first week of January, but those grants need to be in before Thanksgiving. I was giving myself till November. So, that's kind of, every time I look at my road plan, something changes. The beer can, we'll get to that. Moving on to new business. Item 10, discussion and decision on the assessment contract for 2018 through 2020. This seems to be the season of the year where everything is coming together and we're going to be approving contracts. I looked it over. I didn't have many questions. I didn't think the price was overwhelming.
No?
We kind of talked about it at Board of Review, so he did call the other day and ask if we had any questions or if we wanted him to meet here and such, and
Okay,
hold on, since he said he put in here what we had talked about that night, so there shouldn't be any surprises.
all right. I will make a motion to accept the 2018-2020 maintenance assessment contract for Equity Appraisal LLC.
I will second it.
I think maybe I should add the dollar figure
Yeah.
of not to exceed $12,000 per year.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the maintenance assessment contract with Equity Appraisal, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and all opposed, the same sign. Thank you.
Are you doing the exterior re-eval
Yeah.
separate
well,
then?
Yes.
It's two separate contracts.
Oh, yes. Exterior only.
Yeah, I was wondering about that, on mine is red pen, exterior only, but then down here it says view all structures from
Yeah.
interior and
About that too.
exterior. And normally on the 5-year, that's when you have the drive-by, and the 0-year is when you have the walkthrough. So now, I guess, the only thing for the interior would be if somebody finishes their basement and didn't have any permits, they would be picking up on some of those things. Otherwise, an exterior is gonna take in any improvements, whether it's a deck or siding or whatever.
So when was the last time we did this, though?
We always do it on 5 and 0. 5 is the drive-by, 0 is the walkthrough.
You honestly can get people to let him in the door, every single
Yeah, and
house.
what
Wow.
happens then if they deny access, then,
Assume.
right,
Wow.
exactly, yeah.
So this is,
And it does become very difficult.
I'm sure.
this is really pending for 2020 then, huh?
Yeah, and normally when we do with this thing here is then you would break it out on budget purposes. Sharon, you
Yeah.
probably remember this. We always break it up for 2 years. So we would do a 19 and then the final budget item for 2020. So you don't have to get it all in 1 year because it is 51,000.
Yeah, but those terms are not spelled out in here, huh?
No, we talked about it that night, but I don't know that it was clear.
The contract shall commence on January 1st,
Right.
2020, and shall terminate upon completion of the 2020 Board of Review. Is this something we really have to deal with tonight? No.
We do not have to do it. I think he's just being proactive to
Yes.
start to set the stage and also for us. Usually with Ron, we've customarily always did it that way, so that way we could start setting aside the money 2 years or 1 year in advance so that it wasn't so hard to come up with So, but it can wait, there's no hurry.
Let's wait and do this next month so we have Lee here. What he is suggesting, that this exterior only appraisal be done in 2020 to the tune of $51,000, so. Let's take that into account when we,
Which is a lot of work.
Yeah, I would imagine.
But the thing of it is, by doing that, it gets everybody up to speed on what's happened out there, and
it would
everybody
be,
shares and shares alike.
Right.
it would be the first time that he had done this for us.
Yeah,
since
always
we was-
Ron has always done it.
We need to give him the experience of doing that. Let's put the exterior re-evaluation assessment contract on to the November meeting.
Okay.
Now. Item B, discussion of the building inspection fee schedule. Sarah and I met with the Safe Built Business Development Director and also with Chris, the guy who's been sort of our supervisor for Dean Epler through the beginning of the subdivision and through the first part of understanding how they're going to work through the drainage issues in the new subdivision. We had not had a contract review or look-see since 2009, when we signed a contract that was basically renewing from the, what was it called? Independent inspections. And so we met with these guys, they gave us a contract. The contract terms were very similar to what we were working with, didn't you feel, Sarah? The 90-10 split that they take from the fees, permit fees, is the same. And they were going to send to us some comparables, because they were suggesting that in order to keep pace with the rest of the communities around here, we should make some adjustments in our square footage costs and in our permit fees.
Lots of feet, yeah.
And so we have not yet seen the comparison or the spreadsheet. We asked to do things like the town of Oakland.
Concord, Deerfield. There are 5 of them.
Yeah, and so we should be seeing that. I think that the process we should go through is that those fees and the explanation of what we're doing with the contract should go to the planning committee, and they should take a look at it. They were suggesting some things, you got it right there. Increases, like, what was it? We're at 15% for 15 cents a square foot for single-family and double-family dwellings. They were suggesting we take it up to 17 cents a square foot. That's why you see those
The
differences in the,
Yeah.
because it's all figured on square footage. And some other general increases that they were just kind of enumerating here. So when we get those comparables, I think we'll spend a little time working on that and let the planning commission chew into that a little bit. They have committed to us to have a inspector here 1 hour a week, talking about maybe making some personnel changes in the inspector, which we were thinking would be good too. There is a new reporting structure under a new state statute. They're going to handle all the reporting. Essentially, their costs will not go up, but our fees will go up incrementally. And I don't think it'll be drastic, but it'll be a few cents on each square foot and a few dollars here and there. But that would make them feel like they are getting something out of us, because they said that and of course we can hear this again and again, the time that they spend here and the amount of energy that they spend here, they're barely breaking even on. Although we just signed a check for over $7,000 for them, because we've had so much action in the last
Right,
month
yeah.
with building and development.
And that's one of the things too, is prior to '08, they were always here 2 days a week, for 1 hour a day. And there was just no reason for them to be here because just nobody was coming through. Now I've heard a couple complaints, small little complaints, that they're not as accessible as they could be because they're only here 1 day a week. Now, I guess if you plan, I don't know how busy they are when they are here that
They're,
one day.
they're busy. But that's all relative. I mean, I hear people are upset that we only meet once a month too.
Yeah, I know.
So,
And Chris did address this with us, if there is a need for an electrical inspection. He said he is always amenable to taking the calls and working it into his
Oh,
schedule.
right.
that's
yeah,
the thing,
yeah.
if
I
they're
have-
not here, they are taking calls and doing
Right,
things
yeah.
outside of that
Yep.
office hour too. But
Yes, they
it's
do.
something we could propose to them, that they take
It
an
was
extra
just a
hour for the next
thought.
couple of years, because you're
Yeah.
right, there is a lot going on right now.
And they are accessible. They give everybody their, personal numbers so they can get a hold of them. So I think they're really good that way. But
I think we're in really good hands. I emphasized with them that I really didn't think we were wanting to make a change. We just needed to have an updated contract. So it'll be interesting to look at the fees for other communities and compare where we're at. So we got a little work to do on building inspection. And they did offer to come and speak with us. By the time we invite them to come, we should have looked at the schedule and to see where they're at. And if we have questions, we can always forward
So you
those.
think planning commission could even look at it in November?
Yes, if they would come with the
Yeah.
details,
Okay.
that would be great if they could start looking at it. I don't know if they know enough about it to make a decision at that meeting, but they can
Sure.
certainly give us some reference points, and we'll have some time to look at it ahead of that too. I would anticipate that that would come in the next 10 days. All right, that's where we're at with our building inspector. Item C, first reading of amendments on Town Ordinance 5-6 regulating piers on Rock Lake.
Here's your hard copy.
I'm
I have one for Lee.
You do
I'll stick
you?
that in the-
Okay.
I'll stick that in his basket.
do you have one, man?
I don't.
here,
Oh, yeah, here you go.
we got plenty. So this is an improvement, and you can see all the changes that have been made. This has been worked on by the Joint Rock Lake Committee, and it also has been looked at by Attorney Mark Sewell. Mark made some suggestions, and the number one suggestion that he made is that we try to pair our ordinance with the city's ordinance. And rather than to mess around any longer and wait for the city to catch up with us, I thought we should look at adopting this ordinance. This would be the first go-round on it. It will be on our agenda in November and then for approval in December, correct? Yes.
Okay, publish it in November and,
Yes. And since the room is full of people who would like to speak about this, we'll give them a chance. This is an upgrade to the pier ordinance that we have now. It does include some new things, some regulations on rafts and inflatables. It has some better definitions for rafts and inflatables. It also has a provision of what the piers should look like. You will see that there are some swimming area things in here, and then there are some changes in the penalties. But it is not nearly as controversial as the pier ordinance we entertained 10 years ago. So there is a copy of this on the website, correct? And anyone who wants a hard copy can get a hold of me. I would be happy to answer any questions about it. The other group that would answer questions and that meets regularly is the Joint Rock Lake Committee. So if there are concerns or other ideas that we put forward when we approve this ordinance, I would welcome anyone to join in that discussion. It's been on our agenda at the Joint Rock Lake Committee for over 18 months. So, do we have to read it?
no,
All right.
Will be published, well, it looks like it's gonna be kind of hard to publish the amendments, so I think we're just gonna have to publish, that they have to go to the website or contact me for a copy. 'cause
Yeah, that's
This would
good.
cost a fortune to
Yes.
publish.
Right. So do that, okay?
Almost a rewrite, yeah, okay.
All right. So we really don't need to take any action on it tonight, but I want you all to have input on it since you really haven't had input on it. Matt, whatever you have to say would be very well received too. Moving on. Item D, discussion and decision as needed on Clean Boats, Clean Waters 2018 grant application. Again, I asked Patricia if she was ready to go. We decided that we would put this on the November agenda, so it was on the October agenda this last year. I think she'll approach the city if they are willing to do it, and I wonder if we are willing to accept the responsibility of administrating it again. So that's a decision for next.
Are we willing, is everybody on the board, or is everybody on board with this, with doing it again? I know you are.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Okay, we'll decide about that next
Okay.
month too. E, discussion and decision on intergovernmental agreement with the Cambridge Fire and EMS Commission.
I just have a very, very rough draft, but it would be a waste of time, hope for you to read it, because there's
Yeah.
so many little discrepancies.
Well, when you got it, you let us know so we can put it on the agenda, or should we just forward it to the November agenda as we speak?
Yeah, I would forward it to November, and hopefully I can get it to you, because we have our next meeting is the 18th, so hopefully it'll be finalized, and we'll have that. It's just a lot of verbiage that needed to be changed, and who owns the assets and the
Yeah.
building and all that stuff, so.
So your meeting's on the 18th of October,
Yes,
and our next meeting is on the 14th of November.
yeah.
Okay, we can postpone that till November too. F, board expense sheet approval. Seeing none. Item 11,
Oh,
correspondence.
boy. We got a lot. Thank you card from Scott Construction and a response card, if you want to fill out how they did and tell them what you think.
Okay.
Also got a solicitation from Wolf Paving saying, hey, we do milling now. So here's their package on milling services. Notice that there will be a Rock Lake Improvement Association public input session on Thursday, October 19th at 6:30 p.m. in the Community Center, 200 Water Street, downtown here. The results from the public survey will be shared, as well as draft recommendations for the update to Rock Lake's management plan. Main purpose of this session is to obtain public feedback on the recommendations. All welcome to attend. In our, I think this is in our City of Lake Mills utility bill this month, was a insert from the Rock Lake Improvement Association on what happens when you leave your leaves in the streets. It's interesting. Received a copy of the new.
Did this come in everybody's utility
Yeah,
bill?
mhm.
Wonderful.
Copy of the new letter of credit with case on, we reduced it, received the copy from the bank. New annexation. Have you heard about this one? The Optimal Physical Therapy Building, you know which one that is, wants to annex into the city. So got all of the paperwork. No, I forget, when we did Simden, did we actually fill this out? Okay, I'll find my copy of that. Pretty much just, all right, there you go. Due diligence letter about the town of Rutland's comprehensive plan. Since they're a neighbor, they have to send it to all of the neighbors. There it is. A notification of the preliminary estimate of our census for 2017, going up from 2,070 in 2010 to 2,093, 7 years later. And it also comes with a report from the Department of Administration with just different pieces of information about what's going on with the Department of Administration. So, little newsletter information. a copy of the amended zoning ordinance number 11 from the Jefferson County Zoning and Sanitation Department. The shoreland ordinance that we've talked about, we have a copy if anybody wants to refer to it. And then there's a couple of things that I think are pretty much for me and Sharon that coming up with tax levies coming up here. The tax collector bond, you got that email. And a resolution there's another new resolution, Jefferson County amended 85-79 regarding settling unpaid special assessments. So if we don't have any of that, but there is a new ordinance, so we're aware of it. And there's some levy limit law changes that really basically I have to get up to speed on. But don't let me forget.
That's all? It's not so
That's
bad.
all.
It's not so bad.
No, I guess not, but it was thick. And probably because of that ordinance, basically. But this, it seems to be cleanup time. Everybody's getting ready for winter or something, battening down the hatches.
Well, it's budget time, everyone's working on their budgets. And
Right.
all right,
Okay.
thank you. This zoning ordinance changes every 2 or 3 weeks, so.
Kind of like the election law.
Yep, kind of the same. Item 12, meeting scheduled. October 30th, 2017 is our budget workshop at 6 PM here at the Town Hall. November 7th, Joint Rock Lake Committee at 6. November 7th, Planning Commission at 8. November 14th at 7:30, the meeting of the electors to approve the highway budget. And November 14th, our regular town board meeting at 8 PM. Anything else anyone needs? I would motion to adjourn.
I will suck at it.
Meeting is adjourned.